on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. To talk more about the life and legacy of Muhammad Ali, we're turning to poet and professor Elizabeth Alexander, Director of Creativity and Free Expression at the Ford Foundation, former chair of African American Studies at Yale University. She's the author of the persona poem Narrative, Ali, written from the perspective of Muhammad Ali. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Elizabeth Alexander. How did you get interested in Muhammad Ali?
In the late 1980s, they started to show some of his great fights on, I think, probably the Wide World of Sports, something like that. And I had never seen them. I had never watched this man in his physical magnificence and originality. I knew who he was, of course. I knew what he stood for. But to be able to sort of put together the whole package of physical expression and might, along with his belief in the word and the medium of the word, along with all of the things that he stood for and the way that he was able to be an iconic black man and to project himself as a free black man in the world in so many different contexts, that captivated me. And then the mysterious thing of poetic process happened, which is I started to imagine and hear his voice and wanted to write in his voice. And so out of that came a long poem, an epic poem called Narrative, Ali.
Mm. Now, I want to warn people, in this poem you use the N-word. Can you talk about your choice to do this?
One of the things, excuse me, about writing in persona is that you want to have a kind of fidelity to your subject. You don't want to veer outside of how you have researched or imagined that they might speak or their historical context. And so that's not a word that I throw around, but that is a word that's used in two different contexts, both how he understood himself as a black person in America at a particular point in time, and also how he talked about himself in a colloquial setting with another black man. So it is how I researched and imagined he would have used that word, and to shy away from it felt disingenuous to the subject.
Why don't you share your poem?
Yes. And, you know, epic poems have heroes. I really appreciate so much all of the context that that Ishmael Reed has given us, and it's wonderful to be on the show with him. And I'm thinking about what sparks the imagination. I'm thinking about iconicity. I'm thinking about epic heroes in this poem. Narrative, Ali, a poem in 12 rounds. 1. My head so big they had to pry me out. I'm sorry, bird, is what I call my mother. Cassius Marcellus Clay, Muhammad Ali. You can say my name in any language, any continent, Ali. 2. 2 photographs of Emmett Till, born my year on my birthday. One, he's smiling happy, and the other one is after. His mother did the bold thing, kept the casket open, made the thousands look upon his bulging eyes, his twisted neck, her lynched black boy. I couldn't sleep for thinking Emmett Till. One day I went down to the train tracks, found some iron shoeshine rests, and planted them between the ties and waited for a train to come and watched the train derail and ran, and after that, I slept at night. 3. I need to train around people, hear them talk back. I need to hear the traffic, see people in the barbershop, people getting shoeshines, talking, hear them talk back. 4. Bottom line, Olympic gold can't buy a black man a Louisville hamburger in 1960. Wasn't even real gold. I watched the river drag the ribbon down, red, white, and blue. 5. Laying on the bed, praying for a wife, in walk Sanji Roy. Pretty little shape. Do you like chop suey? Can I wash your hair underneath that wig? Lay on the bed, girl. Lie with me. Shake to the east, to the north, south, west, but remember, I need a Muslim wife. So quit using lipstick. Quit your boogaloo. Cover up your knees like a Muslim wife. Religion, a Muslim wife. 11 months with Sanji. First woman I loved. 6. There's not too many days that pass that I don't think of how it started, but I know no great white hope can beat a true black champ. Jerry Quarry could have been a movie star, a millionaire, a senator, a president. He only had to do one thing, is whip me. But he can't. 7, dressing room visitor. He opened up his shirt. KKK cut in his chest. He dropped his trousers, latticed scars where testicles should be. His face bewildered, frozen in the Alabama woods that night in 1966 when they left him for dead, his testicles in a Dixie cup. You a warning, they told him. To smart-mouth, sassy acting niggers, meaning niggers still alive, meaning any nigger, meaning niggers like me. 8, training. Unsweetened grapefruit juice will melt my stomach down. Don't drive if you can walk, don't walk if you can run. I add a mile each day and run in 8-pound boots. My knuckles sometimes burst the glove. I let dead skin build up and then I peel it, let it scar so I don't bleed as much. My bones absorb the shock. I train in 3-minute spurts like rounds, 3 rounds big bag, 3 speed bag, 3 jump rope, 1-minute breaks, no more, no less. Am I too old? Eat only kosher meat. Eat cabbage, carrots, beets, and watch the weight come down. 230, 220, 210, 209. 9. Will I go like Kid Perrette, a fractured skull, a 10-day sleep, dreaming alligators, pork chops, saxophones, slow grinds, funk, fish bowls, light bulbs, bats, typewriters, tuning forks, funk, clocks, red rubber ball, what you see in that lifetime knockout minute on the cusp. You could be let go, you could be snatched back. 10, rumble in the jungle. Ali Bomaye means kill him Ali, which is different from a whooping, which is what I give. But I lead them chanting anyway, Ali Bomaye, because here in Africa, black people fly planes and run countries. I'm still making up for the foolishness I said when I was Clay from Louisville, where I learned Africans live naked in straw huts eating tiger meat, grunting and grinning, swinging from vines, pounding their chests. I pound my chest, but of my own accord. 11. I said to Joe Frazier, first thing, get a good house in case you get crippled, so you and your family can sleep somewhere. Always keep one good Cadillac. And watch how you dress with that cowboy hat, pink suits, white shoes. That's how pimps dress, or kids, and you a champ. Or wish you were, 'cause I can whip you in the ring or whip you in the street. Now, back to clothes. Wear dark clothes, suits, black suits, like you the best at what you do, like you president of the world. Dress like that. Put them yellow pants away. We dinosaurs gotta look good, gotta sound good, gotta be good, the greatest. That's what I told Joe Frazier. And he said to me, we both bad niggers. We don't do no crawling. 12. They called me the fistic pariah. They said I didn't love my country, called me a race hater, called me out of my name, waited for me to come out on a stretcher, shot at me, hexed me, cursed me, wished me all manner of ill will, told me I was finished. Here I am, like the song says, come and take me. The people's champ, myself, Muhammad.
That's Elizabeth Alexander reading her poem Narrative, Ali. In fact, Muhammad Ali was not just the greatest boxer. He was not just an activist, a war resistor. He was a poet, too.
He was a poet, and he claimed himself as a poet. On the one hand, he spoke in ways that are very familiar in the African-American rhetorical tradition, with flourish, with a sense of rhythm, with a sense of rhyme, with a sense of occasion. But he brought that out for people to see in public. And when asked for a poem one time, he replied simply, me, we. He understood poetic economy. He understood that that in a very short, concentrated place, you could do big things. He understood that poetry was memorable. He understood that poetry belonged to everyone. He recorded an album in 1963, I think, of spoken word poetry. He consorted with poets. There's an absolutely fantastic exchange visit that he had with Marianne Moore when they decided to write a poem together, a sonnet, on the annihilation of Ernie Terrell, and George Plimpton brought them together and wrote about it, and it's a wonderful account. So I think that was a consistent
He's the original
identity.
rapper.
He was, and I think that what we see in that is the way that hip hop and rap has very, very long and deep roots in Black expressive culture.
I wanted to go back to Muhammad Ali in his own words. In 1968, interviewed on Channel 13, PBS, here in New York, by Bud Collins.
What about jail? Now, you're appealing, is that correct?
Oh, yes, jail, that could come up, and if I should lose the appeal, then I'll have to go to jail, and I'll be out of there in a few years.
Have you thought about jail, what it might mean? Have you talked about people who've been in jail 5 years?
Well, we are taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that Black people actually have been in jail for 400 years. We've been here in America. But I don't worry about jail. If I believe in Allah, I believe in Elijah Muhammad as the messenger of God, and many great men have to go to jail. And so I don't pay no attention to it. If the time comes, I'll just have to go. Boys in Vietnam are dying for what they believe, and I can't get on them for dying for what they believe, so I'll just have to, and they're dying to free foreign people 10,000 miles away, so I'll just have to suffer so that the so-called Negroes could be free, so they could have idol and an image they can look up to that didn't sell them out.
Do you think you can do more for your people by going to jail?
Oh, yes, sir.
That was Muhammad Ali in '68 being interviewed by Bud Collins, the journalist and tennis commentator. Bud also just died in March at the age of 86. Your dad, Elizabeth Alexander, was Secretary of the Army. Is that right? And here is Muhammad Ali saying no to the war in Vietnam.
Well, my dad says no to wars, too, so, I mean, we could have that whole conversation. But I think that actually, since you bring him up, part of why Ali resonated for me is that he was a free Black man in a way that my father is a free Black man, and that taught me what I wanted to see in this world, what we need to see in this world. Muhammad Ali was imperfect, complicated. You know, what did it mean as a feminist writer to think about, you know, this is a man with a complicated history with women. This is a man working in a quintessentially male, physically expressive form. I'm very well aware of what class and race says about vulnerable bodies. What does it mean to make your body more vulnerable, because that seems to be the way you can move in the world? All of those ironies are powerful ones. But at the end of the day, there's still someone who, as a very, very young man, met a juncture and said no and paid the price and stood for years for that and sacrificed that very thing that was his currency. And that's what shines on. The power of self. Not very many of us are able to project that true, again, free self onto a world stage. So what we see in the work of other artists, I mean, you've been playing this amazing music, Yassine Bey, so many people, other poets, you know, Khalid Matawa, Marianne Moore, you know, people who have been inspired by what he gave and made something more out of it.
Ishmael Reed, your final reflection on the man you have spent years researching, written a book about, the complete Muhammad Ali.
Well, I think we shouldn't, we can praise Muhammad Ali, but we shouldn't forget about Sugar Ray Robinson, Joe Louis, Henry Armstrong, and Sonny Liston, who fought armed white men. I mean, Sonny Liston beat up 2 cops and was hounded by the police from city to city, wherever he went. And Sonny Liston was born near slavery and had great challenges and busted a whole bunch of people on the way up and the way down. Sugar Ray Robinson and Joe Louis fought armed MPs in a segregated bus station, fisticuffs. And the fight only stopped when somebody said, that's Joe Louis. So we can honor Muhammad Ali, but we shouldn't dismiss some of the other great fighters as Uncle Toms.
And your final thought as we go out today, Elizabeth?
My final thought is that complicated people who make difficult choices, sometimes in a very curious and mysterious way, rise to the level of iconicity. And so I think that when we have that, the piece to remember along with the complexities and the contradiction is what might their example lead other people to do and stand up for.
Ending with the quote of Muhammad Ali, "I am America. I am the part you won't recognize, but get used to me. Black, confident, cocky, my name, not yours, my religion, not yours, my goals, my own. Get used to me." Muhammad Ali died this weekend at the age of 74. His funeral is in Louisville, Kentucky on Friday. Thousands are expected to attend. Ishmael Reed, thanks so much for being with us, educator, writer, and activist. His book, The Complete Muhammad Ali, and Elizabeth Alexander, poet and Chancellor of the Academy of American Poets, author of the persona poem, Narrative Ali, written from the perspective of Muhammad Ali. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks so much for joining us.